I welcome everyone who has joined this webinar. My name is Febin, 92 passed out and 94 ME structures, and I'm the Secretary of Chennai chapter. This is the third in the series of our global webinars, and we are very happy that we are able to consolidate an online community, which is, crossing 1,000 people as of now, and we hope to give you more interesting webinars. So today evening, our speaker is Mr. Seshadri, who is 1988 alumnus of our college. Along with him, we have Mr. Prabhuram, who's the Vice President of the chapter and also batchmate of Mr. Seshadri, who will formally introduce Mr. Seshadri to all of you. I just wanted to give you how we will go about this. Basically, I request everybody to be on mute. And as the session is on, if you have any questions, kindly type it into the questions tab that is on your panel. And after the session is over, we will take up the questions with Seshadri sir. So enjoy the session. Over to Prabhuram sir.
வணக்கம் நண்பர்களே. உள்நாட்டில் வசிக்கும் நண்பர்களுக்கு மாலை வணக்கம். வெளிநாட்டில் வசிக்கும் மக்களுக்கு காலை வணக்கம். I am really happy to welcome our speaker of the day, Mr. Seshadri, and all our tech friends for this webinar. A small correction. This is a happy-nar. Yes. What happens when all friends meet? It's a happy time. So our president, Ratna Kumar, mentioned it's going to be a happy-nar. FB la post போட்டிருந்தேன் நம்ம ப்ரோக்ராம் பத்தி. அதுல இமீடியட்டா ஹாப்பி ஹவர்ஸ்னு படிச்சேன் அப்படின்னு சொன்னாரு நம்ம ஃப்ரெண்ட் அலுமினி ஒருத்தர். இமீடியட்டா ஒரு 2 ஹவர்ஸ்க்குள்ள we are interested for both. I mean for both அப்படின்னு next. So guys, don't miss our happy nars in future and bring in our friends to celebrate this happy nar. You can join us every month on a Saturday, third Saturday. It is great to connect with PSG alumni today. Let me say a few words about our alumni of PSG Tech. Our chapter has members from 1958 batch to the latest batch who are active and participate in the alumni activities. The chapter has a credit of starting early and has sustained and grown for many years with our stalwarts. Credit goes to all past and present presidents and committee members of the chapter who shoulder the responsibility efficiently and give relevant programs for the alumni. The chapter works alongside the parent chapter for connecting the alumni across globe. We have not missed a month wherein we haven't given a program even during this lockdown period. Thanks to the 25 strong and dedicated team of office bearers and EC members belonging to 1962 batch to 2018, the batch who contributes to the activities. We have committees, mentoring, chapter online activities management, events, and so on under the guidance of very senior alumni. Another milestone is forming a tech business forum initiative to give business within the alumni network. Chennai chapter has been actively conducting monthly talk shows, workshop, family get-togethers, and cultural event. We have a family get-together early this year. As part of the talk shows, we also felicitate our achievers who have reached pinnacle in their field, not only our Chennai members, but global alumni, whenever we get the opportunity. One example is we had the opportunity of felicitating our Kotalango Leon, who won the coveted Oscar for his work when he came to Chennai. He was our 1992 batch. We request all PSGNs to visit our website to make it more interactive and lively and get benefited. Now coming to the point. Very recently, a news article mentioned that concentration or attention span of individuals are seriously affected due to anxiety or insecurity. The power to concentrate when diminished dramatically alters our performance in any field. As confusion mounts, we can't be driven towards a sense of helplessness or even hopelessness. This issue is being recognized more with the COVID-19 lockdown. இப்போ நம்ம ஹீரோவை இன்ட்ரடியூஸ் பண்ணலாம்னு நினைக்கிறேன். Lieutenant Seshadri has experienced anxiety, insecurity, physical threat, trauma of job, loss that at most all human beings go through at some point in their career. The one thing he never let go of is his enthusiasm, and this he attributes to an important activity in our life. Most of us are ignoring this crucial activity in our life and are unable to connect into our poor performance in all facets of life. Seshadri is an alumnus of PSG Tech. Yes, of course, proud to mention he is my classmate in the first set of B Sandwich Mechanical 83-88 batch. He worked with the Indian Navy as a short service commission. After release from the Navy, he worked in the dredging industry in various capacities, primarily related to ship repair and dredging vessel management. This career took him to several countries over a period of 9 years. Since 2008, Seshadri joined hands with our alumni, Mr. Rajendran of Ooty and alumni Sriram Natarajan, and he heads an organization called NALS Outdoors India Private Limited and offers outdoor programs that offers health, fitness, treks, and leadership development to all ages above 8 years. Over 28,000 persons, including students, faculty, and corporate, have visited and participated in NALS programs at 5 locations in India. Seshadri leads expeditions in the Himalayas for school and college students as well as corporate. Dear friends, நம்ம ஹீரோ இன்ட்ரோடக்ஷன் முடிஞ்சாச்சு. ஒரு சின்ன ரிக்வெஸ்ட், வீட்டில் இருக்கிற குழந்தைய குட்டிங்களோட எல்லாரோட பாருங்க இந்த ப்ரோக்ராம், இந்த செமினார். சேஷாத்ரி கொடுக்குற இந்த சிம்பிள் டிப்ஸ் எல்லோருடைய வாழ்க்கையிலும் மாத்திடும். இட்ஸ் வெரி இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங் அண்ட் வெரி பவர்ஃபுல் டெக்னிக். ஸோ பெரியவங்க சின்னவங்க எல்லாரையும் கூப்பிட்டு இந்த 40 நிமிஷம் பார்க்க ட்ரை பண்ணுங்க. Now let me invite Seshadri to share his experience to our alumni friends. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Febin, and all the Alumni Association members. PSG Tech na gette na sumava. Okay, my dear friends across the globe, we are a community more than I don't know, thousands and thousands of people across the globe. And we are all connected by the DNA of PSG Tech, and it is a very proud moment for me to share some of my experiences with you within this limited time. I'm sincerely thanking all of you for joining this event, and let me share my experiences with you. So now we are now struggling with various states of mind, and we must reflect, become self-aware, and try to connect with what is happening in our mind. Now, when I say in pursuit of happiness, it's not a study of philosophy or spirituality or meditation. It is basically connecting with our body chemistry and how we can harness the power of our mind. And I have experienced this for the last 6 or 7 years, dramatically changing my state of mind. And I would like you to pay very careful attention to some of these content. At least one slide is very important. I'll highlight that. Now, the current times are very difficult, very challenging. For some people, it's just a cakewalk, but we will face some of these situations now and then. Okay, so let us put these situations, fear and its subsets, insecurity, okay, or bayam, anxiety, padattam. Some people also get anxiety attacks, that's called panic. Worries about the children, the future, our jobs, our EMIs, and all leading to a concept called sadness because we can't fight it. It may extend and lead to something known as self-pity. You know, it's a very strong feeling about ourselves, feeling inferior, that we have lost everything, even feeling dejected, and sense of failure. Now, please understand, this goes through all human beings. And some people for a minute, some people an hour, some people days and weeks on together. So we are not alone. Some of us can manage and come out of it very quickly, and how they do it is going to be the subject of the study. Now, there are other emotions and behaviors also connected. So we've seen what is about fear. Now we are going to see anger and its subsets. We can get frustrated, irritated. We do get annoyed, furious. This we see in our normal life also, but now this can go to some extreme situations. We are displeased, irate, aggressive behavior, and agitative behavior. All these emotions lead to a couple of behaviors. We can be confused or puzzled. We can withdraw ourselves, and obviously isolation is the mantra now. We have been asked to stay home. We complain or even rant about what's going on. We forward so much of nonsense on social media. It's actually associated with complaining, hurting oneself physically, all right, and leading to substance abuse. We all know that when we are highly stressed, we seek certain substances to help ourselves overcome or manage that particular state of mind. It can lead to extreme situations called hopelessness or loneliness, and this is where the dangerous territory is now seen in some people, depression or suicidal. Our own community around us could be hopeless and lonely. Unless we go and connect, we do not know that they could be in an extreme situation. There are other associated behaviors. Okay, now that is associated with anger and adrenaline. We call it aggression towards others. So rude or using foul language, wild arguments. There's no sense, we keep on arguing wildly. We also have contempt and hatred associated. Physical aggression and violence is an extreme form of a behavior. Now and then we may throw the phone or hit the table with our fist, leading to some form of physical aggression. Again, substance abuse is an extreme form of behavior. Domestic abuse as a minimum, rioting, vandalism, and crime as an extreme behaviors. Now, all of them are associated with one thing called the body chemistry. Now, briefly, our body has got thousands and thousands of chemicals. We know a few very quickly. Insulin is associated with sugar. Thyroxine is associated with growth. Hydrochloric acid is associated with digestion and internal processes. So we know that these chemicals affect our internal organs, the process of the body, but very few of us attend to the chemistry of the mind. The mind also produces a lot of, the brain rather, not the mind, the brain produces a lot of chemicals. Some of them are called neurotransmitters in a clinical sense. I use the word hormone in general for us to understand. Now, these hormones dramatically alter our state of mind is a proven thing, but many of us don't connect with it. Most of us know all the other hormones associated with the body, but with the mind, it's extremely powerful changes are possible. So please note that the previous slides connected to stress factors called fear or anger or their subsets. Now, the hormone associated with stress is cortisol. Now, cortisol is the primary and only stress hormone in the human body. It is triggered by a part of the brain called amygdala when you face a threatful situation from which either you fight it or you run away from that place. Currently, we are in that threatful situation, either a job security or a financial security or so many insecurities about the health caused due to the virus. So our body is in a fight or flight situation. So cortisol levels will be generally high, and this affects our logical thinking. That's why we are confused, we are puzzled, we are bewildered, It is proven scientifically. If you want to know more about it, please go read a book called Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. As soon as cortisol is produced, it blocks the cognitive side, the logical thinking side. We can do a lot of things. Normally, we will not do it. Let us say I have to jump 25 feet to escape a tiger. I will not normally do it. But when cortisol is high, it will affect logical thinking, and I may take the plunge of 25 feet and then try to survive. Now, it not only affects logical thinking, obviously creativity is a higher function of logical thinking, problem solving and creativity. So it affects a lot of cognitive behavior, and anger is unleashed. All right, so logical thinking, when it is diminished, anger can be unleashed, fear can be unleashed. Now, hunger regulation is a very important function. So people who are under very high stress are known to eat irregularly or improperly or inappropriately because cortisol affects the function of hypothalamus. Hypothalamus manages our hunger levels and triggers hydrochloric acid and gives the feeling of hunger, whereas cortisol can block it or regulate it in such a way that you eat more than what you need. And that is why some people after eating a full meal can end up eating more, because the hunger regulation part of the brain is affected. Now please understand, this also affects our immunity. Cortisol is very high in the body, it also affects our immunity. Now obviously it's all connected to poor mental health. Now during this period of time, I would request you to become self-aware, reflect on your state of mind, and you should be able to connect with this particular hormone now and then. If you feel confused, if you feel bewildered, if you do not know what to do, or if you just come out of a short temper situation, it's because cortisol levels are high. If our food habits are bad, cortisol levels could be extremely high. So you are able to connect this. Now we will move to the main part of this talk. There are a certain amount of performance enhancing hormones that we can produce ourselves. This is free of charge. This is available, but we choose not to most of the time because we are preoccupied with other priorities. Now, the first and most powerful hormone available in the brain is called serotonin. Serotonin is the primary happiness hormone. It is produced when we are physically active. Either it can be a walk, an exercise, swimming, yoga, something which moves the muscles. Physically active people produce serotonin. So no wonder people who exercise, people who are in the farms, people who walk the whole day generally have higher levels of serotonin, and they are generally known as happier people. Now I'll try to connect the balance between serotonin and cortisol. Cortisol can still be high, and if you produce serotonin, how it balances, we'll come to it in a later slide. Now serotonin is the mantra. Now at the end of the session, if you have remembered only this slide, you are already 90% through towards the process of happiness. Now when we chose this title called In Pursuit of Happiness, it could mean a lot of things to a lot of people. It could be about meditation, it could be about spirituals, it could be about philosophy, it could be about so many things. Happiness can be a process or a destination through all these processes, but we are going to talk about the scientific approach towards happiness, and physical activity is the non-compromising area. And obviously most people in the modern world, most of us who desk jobs, tend to be lower in happiness. And obviously you know why. How do you connect physical activity and serotonin and happiness? It's just a matter of time. You can do it like this. Now I'm in the field of mountaineering for the last 15 years. 2005 I quit my overseas career and came back to pursue mountaineering. And before that, fortunately, I was in a physically active domain called marine engineering. We have to walk long hours in a ship up and down, and that is why I am able to connect. Now I have faced trauma at work. I was in a jail in Nigeria for no fault of mine. I have gone through insecurities of life. I have gone through job loss. I have been worried about my children. I have gone through all those situations. which most of us go through now and then. Nobody escapes the issues of insecurity and worry when we are in career and in general life. But I am now able to connect at every point in time. My enthusiasm could be connected to my physical activity. Fortunately, the marine engineering job and currently the mountaineering career are able to demonstrate this for me personally in at least the last 6-7 years, that I become very, very aware about my state of mind, thanks to people coming and transferring this kind of knowledge. None of this goes to my credit, or I've never discovered serotonin or anything. It's all available in public domain, and a lot of people have shared this information. I'm here to structurally put it for our benefit. Now, serotonin improves so many things. It's a very, very complex hormone: mood, sleep, appetite, memory, anxiety management. Now, one of the things we miss a lot is sleep and appetite, and sometimes we are losing our memory. Now, GI tract movement is a very specific area I would like to share with you. Serotonin is also found in the gastrointestinal, that is the digestive tract. All right. Now, it is used in a function called moving the food down towards the waist end of the body. All right. Now, some of us do get constipated now and then. It is directly because serotonin is not there. Serotonin actually moves those muscles so that the food can move downwards. Can you imagine lying down the whole night, but the digestive system has moved the dinner towards the bottom end of the body rather than the upper end of the body? Did any of us think how it happened, despite the fact that the intestine goes up and down, sometimes horizontal, and then the large intestine actually moves up and down? But the GI tract movements is one of the biggest assets of serotonin. And some of us who are not happy are also, in a very cynical way, we call them constipated face. The guy's got a constipated face. Now, happiness is not only a function of serotonin in the brain. We also need to have a very good digestive system which processes hundreds and thousands of minerals in the body, proteins, enzymes, and such things. So these minerals and proteins and enzymes are also part of the base from which hundreds and hundreds of chemicals are produced. So please remember, serotonin is primarily a very important hormone. And some of you might like to ask this question, or immediately this will pop in your mind: I'm exercising for 3-4 months, but still I'm having so many issues. There are 2-3 things. One is your stress levels are extremely high. Number two, you're not giving the base mineral or resource for serotonin to be produced in the body. It's called tryptase. It is found in fruits. You eat bananas for 30 days, you'll know the difference. So some of the base resources the body needs, we have to eat them. So a good digestive system can synthesize those resources into or convert into serotonin at some point in time. Now, please associate many of the people who are seeing psychologists and psychiatrists. They prescribe drugs which involve production of serotonin. So if you have diabetes, you are eating some drug to produce insulin in the body, or directly you take insulin. So depression treatment also involves serotonin producing drugs. So I repeat it, if you've forgotten all other slides in this session, but if you remember serotonin and physical activity, we are not going to sit in front of the TV for long hours. No more. We have to take the walk. We have to do yoga. We have to do Surya Namaskar. We have to exercise. We have to use the treadmill. Now, I'm not going into the hundreds and hundreds of activities that are available for you to be physically active. This is a fantastic hormone. Please get out of the armchair on a daily basis and go and get it free of charge. All right. So we'll move on to a very important and most powerful hormone in the human system. It's called oxytocin. It's again a very, very complex hormone. Women produce this hormone when they are delivering a baby. The oxytocin levels increase around the uterus areas and produces contractions wherein the baby comes out. So oxytocin has got a lot of functions, but primarily it is being associated with a relationship or love hormone. People who are in bonded relationships, you will have this hormone. So the 3 key words here are trust, faith, and bonding. If you work in an environment where there is trust. Your colleagues trust you, your boss trusts you, your subordinates trust you. You know what it feels like. This hormone starts pumping. If you are in a very, very difficult environment where there is no trust, your cortisol will go up because your insecurity and worries could be high. Now, people working in very, very comfortable environments will produce oxytocin. One of the key studies is if you have a team of client relationship managers and the boss gives them enormous amount of trust, the client will see oxytocin through the cheerfulness of the client relationship managers. This is a very powerful study. Now, if the boss is very tough guy, arrogant guy, and bullying and all that, so the client relationship managers will not have higher levels of oxytocin and they will produce cortisol, and the clients will see it because the service standards will go down when a client relationship manager or a sales manager or a front desk executive is not happy. There is no more cheerfulness. It could be artificial. Faith. Faith is a very fantastic word. People need not be in a relationship with a human being. You just can have faith in an invisible, far-off person or even the supreme person. You can produce oxytocin. That's what happens to children who are living abroad or in some other country and their mother is far away and the father is far away. They have faith that my family is with me. Bonding is generally between friends and external circles. One friend is enough to produce oxytocin. So when you meet that friend, you are excited. And that friend is coming to your home today evening, you are excited. That is the power of this hormone. Now, let us also go into other sources of oxytocin. Generosity. People who are into social service create a relationship with other human beings and they produce oxytocin. And the people who receive the generosity also produce oxytocin. Spiritualism, again, is a very powerful source of oxytocin because I've seen people who are not connected with the society in a regular way, but they are connected with an anchor, spiritual anchor, and they also produce oxytocin and they found happiness. Now, many of you, I believe, have a pet. When you come home, you know what this pet can do to you. So much of joy, especially those of us who come home after a long period of time, let us say 5 days, 7 days, or even a month. This pet is bringing so much of joy and happiness. And those families who have pets at home, especially a dog can actually transfer loyalty, physically demonstrated. I'm not sure about python and all those pets which people do have nowadays. I'm not so sure about them, but a dog is a fantastic pet. Now, in case somebody is grieving, somebody has lost a loved one, somebody is going through extreme stress, I would suggest gifting a pet would be a wonderful transformation for that family. So pets have known to produce enormous amount of happiness in a family. And this hormone is a very complex hormone. So it's got a lot of other functions. It affects our psychology in so many other ways. But remember, almost every person who is in love will be happy. Now, those of us who fell in love and got married, and those of us who got married and fell in love, you know what I mean. This is a very blissful time. There are two types of love. One is between the parent, children, and brothers, sisters, and the other love is about the romantic partners. And that romance is very beautifully enhanced because of this hormone. This is the butterflies in stomach hormone. This doesn't allow us to sleep. This doesn't allow us to get sick. This improves immunity. That's a very powerful hormone. People who are in serious relationships generally don't fall sick. They don't get cough, cold, ulcers, and all those things. People who don't have this hormone and they have stressful situations, obviously they'll have cough, cold, headache, and all those things. So people must seek affection, love through family and friends is the message from this particular slide. Now, a very powerful hormone or a feel-good factor hormone, okay, this is a performance-enhancing hormone, all right? The third one is called dopamine. It's a very powerful neurotransmitter or a hormone. There is a very small change in the terminology. The previous two hormones give happiness and this gives pleasure, all right? It's a very powerful feel-good factor, pleasure, and most of us will be very high on this hormone based on our job, our achievements, and all that. Why? It is connected with recognition, rewards, achievements. So when we got our degree certificate, a sense of achievement prevails. When we got the first job, a sense of achievement prevails. When our boss appreciated us, a sense of recognition prevailed. So rewards, all those things produce dopamine. In current times, you can connect that this dopamine hormone can be pretty low because we planned a lot of things. We wanted to achieve targets. We had goals. We wanted to meet them. Everything is come down. So the sense of achievement is definitely less in people. So the feel-good factor pleasure is extremely low, and that causes a very low feeling in most of us. Now we should connect it with some of the very rich people who also commit suicide. All right, I don't want to take names now, but recently we had a very well-off actor committing suicide. It could be because there's expectation, achievement, he's being closeted, and I believe suddenly the pleasure or the feel-good factor is dramatically low. This affects all of us. When we lose jobs, dopamine levels go down dramatically. Now, please understand, we all studied in economic theory, law of diminishing returns. The first jalebi or the Mysore pa or the first morsel of sweet will be extremely tasty, and the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh eventually does not taste as much as the first one. That law is also prevalent in dopamine. Let us say we got salary 1 lakh rupees the first month, and after 12 months we didn't get an increment on the job. Our dopamine levels have already gone down because we have got saturated with that amount. So law of diminishing returns prevails. So no wonder people are going after endless goals. The goalposts are continuously shifting. Some of us thought that we will earn $100,000 or the equivalent in Indian rupee, and eventually we have more and more and more, but we don't stop. That's because we are seeking pleasure with higher targets. Now this is the problem. This hormone also creates addiction in people. In the next slide I will show you the sources of addictive behaviors. Dopamine has got other functions in the human body. It is associated with Parkinson's disease. So please appreciate the fact that all these hormones are extremely complex. They have other functions in the human body. Now we'll go to the addictive side of dopamine. There are so many sources we get addicted to. Now please appreciate the fact that recognition, rewards, and achievements are benchmarks we set for ourselves. It changes with time to time. All right, as soon as I got the degree certificate, my achievement levels are high, but then the job, then the salary, then the promotion. So we keep shifting benchmarks of recognition. So that is why dopamine behaviors can be very complex, and people are unable to be satisfied with what they have, and they continuously complain about what they don't have. Please, I repeat, note this: we are not satisfied with what we have. We continuously complain or seek for what we don't have. Now, one of the primary sources of dopamine creation is academic and sports. These are all some very good sources where academic pursuits, achievements, and pursuits in sports triggers a sense of achievement. Particularly speaking, sports achievements are very good because you're also physically active. You're also generally in a team. So you get serotonin and oxytocin if you trust in a team. So this is a very good source of dopamine. So people must play a lot of sports, especially team sports. So that achievements will be very, very stable. Even if you lose, I'm sure you all seen cricket now and then. First ball, Sachin Tendulkar, Dhoni are all out, and you think they're going and drinking that evening. No problem. They have serotonin and oxytocin as base. They'll come back next day and fight. So even though they have lost the pleasure of running between the wickets for a lot of runs, in this case they have gone out on first ball. They have lost the pleasure of the game, but they are not going to go and cry. They will come back next because serotonin and oxytocin is the base. That's a point I'm trying to make here. Please ensure your serotonin and oxytocin levels are high before you seek dopamine. Dopamine is a very important feel-good factor. You cannot live with it. Most of our lives we seek dopamine, but the foundation should be serotonin and oxytocin. We also seek wealth and materialism all our lives. All right. So that is why it's an endless cycle of greed triggered, feel-good factor called dopamine. Many of us cannot stop. We have more than what we need. And I must share with you, in 2005, I quit my career in Belgium. I was working for a European company because something was bothering me. We had visited Ladakh and Manali the previous several years, and someday I decided I must go back to India and continue my mountaineering as a career or as a hobby. At that time, I never wanted to start a company, but yes, why not? So I quit that career because at some point in time I had an Excel sheet in front of me which told me that I have more money than I needed. In 2005, a career came into, we called it a financial advisory firm. Now I have around 90 to 100 clients in almost 14 countries taking advice from us on the psychological aspects of money. Now, this is a very difficult area to talk in few minutes, but materialism is grinding all of us day in and day out. There is no end to it. I'm not talking philosophy, but I'm talking facts. There is no end to earning money, but yes, we still go after it. At some point in time, it is going to hurt all of us, where some factors beyond our control eventually come and affect us. Now, fame and power is another area where we have a sense of achievement, recognition, and we hold on to something called status. All right, all our designations are all associated with this particular things. When I was in Singapore, people around my family, they used to say that this guy is in Singapore, this guy is in Singapore. When I came back and I was climbing mountains without a career for 3 years, they said, what is this guy wrong with him? He's walking and wandering in the mountains, whereas he just quit a good job. Now, these things are associated with fame and status and power. We go through it all our lives, and sometimes when this is lost, the feel-good factors dramatically change. And scientific studies have proven that social media connection increases dopamine levels in our brain. Video games are a very important source of achievement, so no wonder many of us, including adults, are getting connected with video games and play it endless throughout the night. Expecting likes on media is a sense of achievement in many people. You put an Instagram or a Facebook photo, and immediately after 2 hours, many of us go and check how many comments have come, how many likes have come. If that is not exactly to your measurement, you feel, or we feel, a little sad. Alcohol produces dopamine in the brain. Scientists are still figuring out how it's happening. So no wonder, many of us, go to this particular substance to elevate our feel-good factors. Now, these three hormones play enormous amount of processes in combination, and then we can balance it with cortisol on one side. Now, this is a self-diagnostic tool. All right, on the left end of the x-axis, you have the feel-good hormones, a combination of serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, dihydroepiandrosterone. There are so many hormones, all right? And on the right spectrum, we have cortisol. All right, so all our lives, we'll be balancing between cortisol and the combination of feel-good hormones. Now, on the top of the y-axis, you have adrenaline, and in the bottom of the y-axis, you have low adrenaline. Why? Physiologically, some people don't produce adrenaline enough. In general, men went to war and fight, and physical attributes 10,000 years back were high. So nature gave adrenaline, the power hormone, to men. Women were more into society, caregiving, children, and taking care of a family. So physical attributes were not evolved by nature. So women generally tend to have lower adrenaline. There is a research which is very pointing to this particular area. 97% of the world's riots are always triggered by men. So high adrenaline immediately will result into physical aggression or violence, whereas women generally tend not to get into physical aggression because nature didn't give them high adrenaline. Yes, some families, they come from war related DNA thousands and thousands of years back. That woman must have been in war, and today you will find an odd woman here and there getting very physically strong. Yes, that is also possible, but mostly men get into fights and all that. So let us now study how this combination affects our state of mind. This is a self-diagnostic tool. Okay, you should know by the end of the slide where you are and which quadrant is safe. So I put 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to start with third quadrant. A combination of cortisol and adrenaline leads either from anger, violence, and all those attributes related to physical show of power. We can be rude, we can be humiliating, we can use foul language. People, I'm talking in a sense graph 0 to infinity. So anybody in this graph will show various stages of anger. So please appreciate the fact that in an extreme sense people can be violent. People demonstrate headaches, ulcers, all the health issues in this quadrant. All right, eating disorders. Obviously, if a person with high anger and rude behavior will have very poor relationships, and generally you can assume that that person and an organization will be a poor leader. Now, if you are working under such a boss, you will also experience similar situations of health crisis. You cannot show your anger to your boss, so you will go home and unleash the anger on an unsuspecting child or an innocent neighbor or even the spouse. So it is difficult not to miss this particular quadrant. I've been in and out of this quadrant, so I know that I do get angry. I've been rude. I've humiliated people. I've insulted them. So you should know I've got headaches in several times in my career. So I know that this quadrant can be very, very stressful on the health. Now we'll go to the other side, quadrant 4, where a combination of cortisol and low adrenaline. These people don't have power to inflict injury or hurt on others, so they take it upon themselves. So they inwardly hurt themselves. They show all these things. In an extreme sense, they can be depressed. Obviously, such people, relationships suffer, and all the suicides, running away is actually part of this quadrant. Now, let me tell you, quadrant 4 is a very dangerous quadrant. We might have somebody around us who is extremely silent. He's not speaking much, but you can find the sadness if you ask intelligent questions. Hey, can we go out and enjoy? He might say, what's the point, man? It's all gone. So that's a sense of failure and self-pity, and the eyes will show it. The lack of interest will show it. If it is last for 10 minutes, 1 hour, it happens to some of us. Hey, I'm not interested today, man, maybe tomorrow. In an hour, 2, 3, we try to tend to get back to our normalcy. All of us tend to go in, we are sad when we lose a contract, we lose a job, we didn't get what we wanted. So we go close to that, 0, right? But once you go very high to infinity, that is when people are extremely vulnerable. They can take their lives very quickly. So please look out for helping others who are withdrawn from a normal environment. We'll go to a very powerful quadrant, quadrant number 2. This is a combination between feel-good hormones and high adrenaline. Remember, adrenaline is produced when you are excited. Cortisol triggers excitement in a very threatful way, or a fight or a flight way. Adrenaline is also produced when you get a very high challenging job. You are asked to take care of a larger territory. You are getting promoted. Your salary is higher. So you are excited. So adrenaline is produced in such a combination. The combination of feel-good hormones, serotonin, oxytocin, or dopamine will put you in this quadrant. Highly dynamic. Remember, adrenaline is a power hormone. It will show dynamism in the human. Don't underestimate a high adrenaline boss or colleague. Instead of anger and aggression, they will be extremely assertive, firm. They will not mince words, but the only difference is they will not humiliate or insult. They can bang the fist on the table and say, get it done or find another job. So they are not going to mince words. They'll be very firm, but then working under this boss or working with these kind of people is an extremely rewarding experience. All right, they are very good in team spirit. They motivate others. They will bring the best in you, and these people are generally selected for senior roles. Now, if a boss in quadrant 3 leaves, everybody will be cheerful. When a boss in quadrant 2 leaves, people will leave the organization and try to follow him. All right, so that is the difference between these two quadrants. A firm and very, very assertive boss we all like, because he can motivate us, he can push us, he can get the best out of us. All right, an insulting and a humiliating boss can get the worst out of us, and we end up sick and asking for leave and things like that. Now here comes a very beautiful quadrant number 1. Calm and relaxed, because adrenaline is not there enough, so people are calm, they don't show their power, and feel good hormones are high, so they are calm and relaxed, they are contented, they are satisfied. Now please remember, at some point in time in our life we should reach this quadrant, otherwise our purpose of life is not to be running after something throughout. We should also enjoy the contentment side, the satisfaction, and generally we see that in grandparents, they take care of the grandchildren, and we ask this question to ourselves: as a parent they were very difficult, but as a grandparent they are interested in the welfare of others. So that's the difference. Their adrenaline starts going down as a grandparent, our adrenaline can go down, and eventually we are looking at the interests of our grandchildren is a very good example. Now, school teachers, social workers, generally people who have given up pursuit of materialism will not have adrenaline, is a very important factor. Now, we all move in and out of these quadrants, so those of us who stay more in quadrant 2 are generally considered very healthy from a career point of view. All right. But if you are in quadrant 3, from a career point of view, it's a very dangerous quadrant. People around us will be affected. Your family will also suffer. Quadrant 4 is a very dangerous quadrant. So please become aware that we keep moving in and out of these quadrants based on our situations. But the maximum time we should spend in 2 if you are in career, and 1 when we come home, weekends, and on the job, we should go back to quadrant 2. But in a high profile career, if somebody says I'm very calm and relaxed, that guy will not go into a senior role, because it's a very dynamic environment, high profile careers. So this quadrants, take a moment, take note of it, which quadrant you are most of the time dictates your destiny as far as career is concerned, relationships are concerned. It's not just career that we are after, we are also interested in the relationships. At the age of 60, when we all have retired, or we are going to retire, or some of us could be retired at this point, our career is over. But if our relationships are still with love and affection, trust and bond, we continue the next leg of our life. The sunset years are just going to be there another 20, 30 years. So we start enjoying with quadrant number 1. If we've had very bad relationships, we lived a quadrant 3 career, and we have no chance of getting back to quadrant 1, because oxytocin from relationships will not be available. So there are so many other things that you can take home from this particular quadrant. All right, so I'm just running out of time. I'll summarize it, and then we can go to questions and answers. The point I'm trying to make is you have the power to change the state of your mind. You may not have the power to change your destiny, but if you change the state of your mind, there is a very high chance you and your positive destiny can get connected. So when you have very high feel-good hormones, serotonin, oxytocin, your enthusiasm will be very high, your logical thinking, and obviously if your DNA has got creativity and problem solving, you will automatically choose that path. And I've seen this in the last 6 years. I'm experiencing it on a regular basis. Without enthusiasm, I am doomed. The last 70 days, we have also invented some things for this organization, NALS, and it might be the world's first climbing system with so many things. I don't want to go into that too much, but invention is possible, and you are calm, you are idle, you are bored, you are trying to solve problems, and you are enthusiastic. All right, so physical activity is the principal key to unlock the power of your mind at a basic level. When I mean a basic level, most of us have not reached a philosophical level or a spiritual level or even a higher level. I am using this session at a basic level where all of us have sometimes low enthusiasm. Physical activity is the key. Remember the serotonin slide, put on your shoes and just go for a walk or a run, right? A bonus hormone, melatonin, is a sleep-inducing hormone. I'll go quickly. Sleep is an excellent medicine. If you don't sleep, all other processes, including serotonin, will be affected. So late evening screen time is an enemy of sleep. It produces a lot of photons into your eyes. Melatonin, the gland is called pineal gland, which produces melatonin in the brain. The pineal gland thinks it is still sunrise because there is so much of light coming into your eyes, you are not able to sleep. Many of us will share, you will agree with me, after putting down your phone at 10 p.m., you are still struggling to sleep till 1 a.m. in the morning. And some of you go back at 12 midnight and check for feedback or WhatsApp messages. This is the problem with sleep. So this is doing serious damage to circadian rhythm and can cause serious health issues, especially our children. So if you can regulate your child's sleep time and screen time, you will find their health also will improve. So 2-3 suggestions: start exercising, eat right so that you get the right amount of resources for producing the right amount of neurotransmitters. Sleep well, my dear friends. PSG TechMates, I'm very proud that I'm here today to help some of you with this concept. I would hand over the mics to the host for question and answers. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Yes, Sesha. Yes, Seshadri. Yeah, we have got a lot of questions popping out. First question I'd like to ask you, Seshadri. They're being shooted out from Ananta Lakshmi of 1994 batch. Sir, my sister gets headache pretty often. Which hormone does she have to work on? This is a question.
Now, I'm not a doctor, but headaches can be caused due to so many reasons: your sleep postures, too much of screen time, acid in the stomach, ulcers. There are 100 reasons. Muscular pain in your neck position when you're watching the screen. So there are hundreds of reasons. So I will not be able to give you immediately a suggestion, but there is a connection between stress and headaches. So cortisol, when it's high, causes regular headaches. It can lead to ulcer. So what is the cause of stress? If can be understood. In my previous job, I was very highly stressed because deadlines in marine engineering was very tough, and we are always scheduling ourselves so tough. $100,000 is the cost of ship per day, and 1 day delay is on my shoulders as a site superintendent. So I used to get headaches every third day, and I used to pop a lot of pills. And in the last 15 days, 0 medicines. Is a suggestion. I have moved away from cortisol towards serotonin. Is the suggestion I'm making. Suggest that your sister take up some form of sport and exercise and watch it for a month and take a look. Thank you very much.
I'd like to put few more points for Ananta Lakshmi. See, actually, Seshadri is a marathoner. He runs 10 kilometers regularly. So taking up some form of exercise, running or walking, will definitely help to increase the oxytocin level. The second question, Seshadri.
I'll be talking.
64 years old. I am 64 years old, though regular in my morning walk of 3 kilometers a day, 6 days a week. Had my open heart surgery in September 2019. Feeling good and back to my morning walk. Can I go for mountaineering, say once in a year? Please advise. I did one in 2015.
Very nice to hear about this.
Ramasamy. Yeah.
Nice, sir. Very nice. Very nice. So trek is a very wonderful way to connect with nature. When you say mountaineering, it need not be the hard ones. People wander in nature at 7,000 feet. Manali, I have got people at 75, 76, 77 wandering. See, please remember, in Manali, there are 95-year-old people. So if your heart is good and if you have done long walks in the plains, 10 kilometers, 12 kilometers, and your heart can take those challenges, try a small trek in your nearby city, climb some stairs, use some technology to watch your heartbeat. And if you are confident, you can go to the nearby mountain. In Coimbatore, we are blessed with Maruthamalai. So a climb to 750 steps will show whether your heart is in good order. In altitude, oxygen is less, so your heart will be burdened a little more. So this requires enormous amount of preparation. If you're already into physical activity, you just extend it by stressing yourself little by little. Your doctor will be the best guide, and you can think, you know your body more, try it out little by little by climbing stairs or a nearby mountain, mountaineering. In an extreme sense, I wouldn't comment. Trekking, nature is very good for all of us. Thank you, sir.
Sir, I have a question. This is Ratna here.
Please,
Shesha.
go ahead.
Okay, so I do close to 10,000 steps a day. I walk in the morning 1 hour, I walk in the evening 1 hour, I do stretches, exercise. And during college days also, I used to be an active, athletic guy, playing football and everything. But still, I've got this habit. I wake up in the night at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, go have some sweet and then come back and sleep. I've never tried it with a doctor or I've never gone and told anyone, but I keep, இப்போ வந்து இந்த கடல மிட்டாய் எடுத்து பக்கத்துல வச்சுப்பேன். நைட் வந்து ஒரு sweet craving வரும், then I eat this கடல மிட்டாய், then I go and hit the bed. So why? I mean, because I do so much of exercises, I do, but still I get up in the night and have this thing, the sweet craving. But on the regular day, I don't touch a sweet, I don't touch ice cream, I don't do, eat anything at all. I mean, I don't even go near it. But the sweet craving comes up in the all of a sudden I wake up at 1:32, go, I'll have a couple of kalamtai and then come and sleep, or anything that's available, chocolate, or it could be anything.
Now I'm actually helpless in this matter because it requires sugar monitoring and levels, and so many other factors are involved. I will not be able to put immediately an answer, but all I'm telling you is good sleep is a reason many of us can think clearly. And there are some seminars where 4 hours I talk non-stop except for 10 minutes break without watching the screen. Now, if I don't sleep the previous day, I am doomed. I am looking out for words. So sleep is a very important factor. Why you are losing sleep could be so many factors. Light in the room, your phone is buzzing now and then. There could be ambient noise, oxygen levels. Many of us are living in a split air conditioned room. Your oxygen level is going dramatically low in a split air conditioned room. We don't allow oxygen to come inside. So there could be 100 factors involved. So allow oxygen in the room, switch off all the sounds from your phone, light emitting, ACs, and all these things affect pineal gland producing melatonin. So between 12 and 4 is the core sleep hour where melatonin is at its peak. And if you get disturbed at that time, it can have negative consequences to the health. So I would request you to review the sleep arrangements in your room. And maybe, I don't know, I shouldn't suggest, generally, I don't suggest a hormone research or anything. I would suggest, check your sugar levels. If you're going down, you'll have a craving at night. All of us crave for sugar. The body is asking for glucose. Thank you, sir.
Right,
Next
sir. Thank
question.
you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Ratna and Seshadri. The fourth question, I think Rajni Sharmuham has asked this. Nice information, informative presentation. When do you advise someone to get to quadrant 1? At what age? It's an interesting question, Seshadri.
If you reach quadrant 1 at the age of 25 and 30, brilliant man, you are into social work, you are into NGO. I know an IIT graduate who quit at the age of 27, a very high profile career, and he went to teach rural children in Madurai. Fantastic. I mean, all of us are not blessed with that because we have certain compulsions with finance and all that. So I don't say that, you shouldn't get into quadrant 1 at a young age, but people who are into social service, people who are active in delivering welfare to others. There is another aspect, people who are driving themselves all their life till 50, 55, 60, and eventually settle down and find the cause. And then they go after the cause without materialism as a pursuit. You can work till the age of 80, 90 or whatever, till such time you have materialistic desires in your thought processes, you will not reach quadrant 1, is my point. So when that happens, you enjoy it. It's bliss. It's absolutely bliss. The purpose of life is to relax, enjoy, be calm, contented, and serve others. And I see that in college teachers. I see it in some of our professors. I see it in many school teachers. And we are blessed because they gave their selfless services to us, and they must be very high on oxytocin, and their health will be very high. So they will be in quadrant 1. All right, or closer to quadrant 1. Anybody who is in pursuit of materialism will not reach quadrant 1. All right, so the answer to your question is, there is no such thing like we should go there at the age of 20, 30, 40. It will happen. It's destiny. I don't know how else to explain that. Thank you.
And then we'll go for the thanks, Seshadri. And Mr. Natarajan Subramaniam has asked, what is the role of motivation and attitude of a person?
Now, low on serotonin, low of enthusiasm. And when you are low on enthusiasm, you are rude with other people around you, or short tempered to various degrees. I'm not saying straight away very high tempered on the anger side. So when you can motivate others, it means you have a level of enthusiasm. Your cortisol level is low. Atrakaranukku buddhi mattu. Okay, what is the meaning of it is cortisol is high, it will block your cognitive side. So you have a role to motivate others, you have a role to encourage others. It is in your DNA, and that will come out only when you are enthusiastic. So serotonin is the answer to all these things. If you are low on serotonin, you are low on motivation and encouragement. Thank you.
I think we will take out the last question. I think Febin, you can ask this question.
Okay. So thank you, Seshadri sir. We have actually a lot of more questions. We will actually get back to you with everything, but one last question which was a little interesting. Does getting married or cohabiting change the hormone levels? If so, which quadrant it normally changed to and from? On lighter side, most change to quadrant 3 initially.
See, the body doesn't know the legal status of a person when it comes to marriage. The body will not know. All right. The mind will recognize love. This came in a funny question in a corporate program. One guy said, sir, I'm already married for 15, 18 years, but my wife is very aggressive. I'm not having a relationship. So I fall in love with an office colleague, and I'm feeling very good. So I said, yes, your oxytocin level will go up. Body doesn't know immorality. All right. Body doesn't know it. All right. So immoral behavior is not a function of the body. The body will produce oxytocin when the body is in love. So I said, when the wife finds out that you are having an immoral or a out of marriage affair, she will do something so powerful, your cortisol will jump so high, and a lot of consequences will happen, violence and death or whatever. So please be careful. Now, marriage should produce trust, love, bonding in people, so oxytocin will go up. At least during the first several years of marriage, most of us have very high experience of oxytocin. And before marriage, there is a period called courtship period. People go head over heels. They tell the spouse, I will get you the moon, I will do anything for you, I will die for you. Yeah, that is because of oxytocin very high. That also blocks cognition to large extent. Love is blind, all right? But after marriage, we take the spouse for granted, and slowly, oxytocin levels go down. All right, then the children are born, again, oxytocin peaks up. But the woman continues to give love. That is the difference between man and a woman. The woman gives love all her life. man is a difficult person, all right? He goes after money and all that. But a woman is a very blessed person. She gives love all her life. No wonder women are more immune than men. It is now proven scientifically also. Women continue to love their children and, you know, keep on doing it. The grandchildren also arrive. So women are blessed. So I believe marriage bring people more towards quadrant 1 and 2.
Thank you, sir. So the question was from Vijendra Krishnamurthy. So thank you for this very interesting session. I'm sure everybody enjoyed it. And there are much more questions. We will come to you to get your feedback, and then we will circulate it to all the participants, the responses to all your questions shortly, because we are already crossed our time limit. I would like to thank Chapter President Ratna Kumar for all the support, and I thank the core team that worked to make this happen. We had EC members along with Prabram sir, Anantalakshmi, Venkat and Karthi, and very, very active team from Car Technologies, Anant, Ravi and Vadivel. I thank all of them. I thank all the participants, and we will be coming with another interesting program next month and also during the coming months, and let's stay connected. Good evening. Thank you.
So I've shared my mail ID to everybody. If there is anybody who's interested in connecting with me privately, I'll be so delighted to help you, a brother to a brother and a sister. So I have my mail ID flashed on the message panel, seshadri@nals.in, or you can search NALS on the website and come to our inquiry desk. I see that. I'll be so delighted. I want to thank all the office bearers. Some professors have come. Dr. Radhakrishnan apparently is in the member list. Thank you, sir. You have been our guru. I see some batchmates, Subha and all. Thank you, all of you. Best wishes and Jai Hind. Let us make India a proud nation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Seshadri. Thank you all for joining us.